rubber match of this three-game set between Young Harris and Augusta on tap. Augusta, after an offensive barrage in Game 2 earlier today, surged with offensive firepower behind 12 runs in that game and halting the Young Harris offense to 4 runs in the first game for Young Harris. Now, the leadoff matchup between Augusta and Young Harris boils down to Sam Gowardon for Augusta is your starting pitcher, and Graysick is the table setter for Young Harris. And the first pitch he sees is a ball trying to bite the outside corner but could not tail back. Gowardon. Fastball tailing inside of the outside corner. Timing for Graysick a little bit tardy, and he sails that one back toward the concourse area. Gowardon again working the outside corner but could not punch his ticket for a strike. Blake Collins and Robert Ambrose here with you to take you through the rubber match of this three-game set. And Sam Gowardon again pinpointing the outside corner with accuracy. That's 2 straight foul balls back in our direction. It's been 6 pitches thus far for Gowardon, and that ball is punctured into short right field. Great tracking ability for Augusta, and Mason Robertson on the call and the catch for the first out of the ball game. Now the shortstop Reynolds has his first trip in the second game up at the dish. And Gowardon delivers a first pitch ball to him. Comes back, right back roaring, pinpointing an inside corner fastball. Nudges it out, and it is 1 ball and 1 strike. Try to edge out that inside corner again, but to no avail, as Gowardon is showing much more finesse in the first inning here. Not pitching to too much contact, as that ball again tries to settle over the inside corner. Floats over, but cannot catch the inside corner. 3 balls and a strike, and Reynolds might have swung at ball 4. Pops it right back up again for Robert's second chance on the diamond. Similar position, just a little bit to the right of the first out obtained, and the second out is in the books. Jackson Jones walks up to the dish. Third hitter in the Young Harris lineup, and looks at a first pitch strike. Gowardon early on is exhibiting pinpoint accuracy and great framework for the 1-2 battery between Gowardon and Alford, the senior catcher behind the dish. And that ball scoots out to Robertson again, who is playing out on the grass, and quick and a rapid 1-2-3 inning. The Jags retire. Young Harris in their half of the first. Jags come up looking good. We'll see what they can do in their first first at bat. First man to go to war with the pitcher for Young Harris, Gabo, on the bump, is Devin Billardello at the plate. Gabo, pitcher perfect, outside corner strike. And Billardello falls behind, 1 strike. Tries to nap the same location, just beyond the outside corner. And that ball is towered beyond the Young Harris dugout and over into the concourse area. So a rapid 1-2-3 inning does Young Harris in order for their top half of the first. Jags looking to get a man aboard, and Billardello has the right idea, trying to shoot the ball the other way, just beyond the reach of the right fielder for Young Harris in foul territory. And Lushington, as speedy as he is, could not catch up with the flight of that foul ball. Again, Billardello is wanting Lushington to get some exercise out there and tries to conk one into right field again. Very good approach, trying to muster up a single the opposite field. Entrenched on the outside corner. Billardello didn't think so, but he's walking back to the dugout. He's looking to tell Gale what he saw in hopes to help Gale out in his at-bat. But Gibbo, with a wonderful job of striking out Billardello, and the Jags already with 1 man down. Gale doesn't offer that sinker. Ganders at a first pitch strike inside. Bites back over the corner. Trying to straddle the inside corner there. Falters. And the second ball is on the board. And that ball's battled back in foul territory. Deadlock count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Gale had a marvelous first game. Continues his offensive explosion at the dish with a single right back up the pipe. Didn't try to do too much with it, just ball met the bat, shot it right back up behind the pitcher and into center field. And the Jags, with a 1-out flurry, with a speedy Gale as the threat at first base.
Goebel batting now fresh off of his 9th inning pitching performance.
Yeah,
in game 1.
Not only that, but a dangerous bat wielded in the hands of Goebel. His initial first at bat last game, he had a monster shot out into Millage Road beyond left field. Ball might have been geared for Broad Street, but just a phenomenal plate appearance, and the Jags quickly struck in that game with 2 runs in the first. It's looking good here with Gale and Goebel, the contingent in the first game. This time, Goebel grounds one over to third base and is retired. Great transfer and phenomenal throw over there. And Gale does, however, for the Jags, move up to second base. As one of the more consistent batters on the season for the Jaguars stands at the dish. In the cleanup spot, Harrison Moore looks to deliver the first damage of the ballgame, and he does just that with the opposite field approach. Gale around third. He will come home without a throw. Then the Jags quickly strike first with a single that chases Gale from second all the way home. To obtain the Jags' first run. Shooting off on the right foot for the Jags here in the first. Mason Robertson now stands in. He's the 5th man to bat in the inning for the Jags, and Moore takes off, and a good throw by the catcher. Pegs Moore trying to be aggressive and continue the threat, but that threat is squandered for the time being, only allowing the 1 run to come across, which is huge for the Jags. But let's see if Young Harris can have a rapid response and come back. And Robert, if Govardon has anything to say about it, he continuously looks to silence the bats of Young Harris here.
Well, that's what he did in the top of the first. Retired the side in order. Pair of pop outs and a ground out. He shows that he does not need to strike you out in order to get the job done. He also has a good defense behind him to back him up. And how about the Jaguars offense picking up right where they left off in game one? The 30-minute break in between games did not slow them down so far.
You get off on the right foot there, does Young Harris with Gaona. First pitch he sees is a squibbler that shoots through the hole between third and short, also known as a seeing eye single, and Gaona is standing at first base. And excuse me, swing. Perfect placement for Govardon to retire the lead runner at second in Gaona. Didn't mean to on the swing, but the Jags will definitely say thank you as they take the initial lead runner out. It's the first man out here in the second. First pitch, Govardon unleashes. There's a strike. Govardon with a huge drop on that pitch, dropping from the strike zone to the dirt. Nice little swift swing through from Young Harris, and they're quickly in a pitcher's count, 0 balls and 2 strikes. It looks like Xavier Lushington stands in now, as Ewald is on first. Got a 1 ball and 2 strike count. Govardon punches in the strikeout ticket there for the third strike.
It's his first strikeout of the game, and so far he has responded nicely after Gaiano hit the leadoff single through the hole on the left side. He made a great play to get the fielder's choice and get the lead runner on the ball hit by Ewald, and then he comes right back and freezes Lushington to strike him out.
So there's 2 out in the inning, and remember the first man was retired as the lead runner off an swing that Govardon shot a strike over to second to garner the first out. So now, Washington, the left fielder, walks up to the dish with the bat in his hand, looking to not only extend this inning, but to migrate the runner from first over to second, and does just that. A little bit of a misplayed by Roberts there, but he recuperates in time, gobbles it up, transfers, and the Mountain Lions, half the second inning, comes to a close. Jags up in a minute. here in the second. As Mason Robertson now, who had a hand in all 3 outs in the first inning of the game, stands in at the dish. And he feasts his eyes on a ball that scoots outside of the strike zone. Same location, same result, expecting a different result, but that different result is in the second ball. Creeps back over the outside corner from Gabo. Young Harris, outside of the last game, took game 1 in the series. Jags come back and tie the series earlier. Plating 12, the rubber match of the series is this game, but also too, Robert, Young Harris last weekend took 2 out of 3 from a nationally ranked then Pembroke University in the Peach Belt Conference.
They certainly did. They took the first 2 games before dropping the third and final game 6 days ago on Sunday. And they were able to bounce back from that loss, though, nicely yesterday with the 4-0 victory.
As Mason Robertson orchestrates a walk here that will hand the bat off to a lightning rod with the bat in his hand, especially his final 2 plate appearances in the game in Jimmy Wagner. First pitch he sees, though, is tomahawked into the ground. Productive out, though, for Wagner as he escorts Mason Robertson over to second. So we talked about those at bats. He had a double and a triple his last 2 plate appearances in last game. Doesn't get the same result here, but a productive out nonetheless, as the catcher for the Jags anchors in at the plate and awaits his first pitch. It's Brent Alford. Pitch navigates too far out of the zone there. Delivers a changeup. Parks itself over the inside corner. Even the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Gabo. Fastball inside that's beaten to the ground. And Reynolds, who did not have a good day at shortstop last night, bobbles his first opportunity here in game number 3. And that allows Alford to reach first base without a throw. And a dangerous hitter is making his way up to the dish now, Robert, and Ty Hobbs.
Ty Hobbs, number 8. He's got a lot of power, and that's the 3rd error.
As Gabo is desperately needing a ground ball here. But Ty Hobbs, we're about ready to pounce on that ball as it came up here. That fastball rides along the outside corner, doesn't have the late movement Gabo wants, and cannot convert on the strike. Hobbs starts his swings, decides against a full swing, cannot check his swing in time as the bat head crosses the plate. So Gabo, after starting behind, has worked his way ahead in the count now, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gabo comes back with a change of speeds and has Hobbs in for a fastball. He's way out in front of that pitch as he walks back to the dugout.
He was definitely swinging for the fences. As I mentioned, he has a lot of power if he can make contact. Obviously, the focus for him would have been to at least get the runner home from third by any means necessary. And obviously, a boy at a double play, he's unable to get him over, and it's a non-productive out with a strikeout for Hobbs.
Now it's the bat in Trent Maddox's hands if the Jack. And the bright side for Young Harris is there's a force at second or first they can obtain without trying to turn a double play with 2 outs down in the inning. That ball was itching for the inside corner, and it does come across the inside. This is a ball and a strike on Maddox. And Maddox comes through when it counts the most as a piercing ground ball through second and first base in that hole. Ushers in the Jags' second run of the game.
And baseball and teamwork go really well together there, as Hobbs was unable to score the runner from third with less than 2 outs, but it doesn't matter because Maddox is able to pick him right up with the single.
Not only that, on the throw to third that was offline, Maddox migrates over to second base, so the threat is still ever present with runners at second and third, and it, as you said, Robert, definitely picks up Hobbs, who could not place the bat on the ball. Gabo wanted that pitch. It was close to the strike zone, but does not get the call. Ball was starting to fall off the table as it gets to home plate, just a touch low for Gabo. Runners will be leaving the bases on contact. Fastball squeezes the inside corner. From Gabo as he's trying to steadily make his way back from a 2-ball and no strike count. Now it is 2 balls and a strike. And Billardello right back up the gut again as the Jazz continue to pour on the pressure and runs as their offense is sparking up at the right moment in time, with the last game with plating 12 runs, and now here in the second plating 3 runs.
The Jaguars just keeping the momentum going, and it's carried over from the first game, and so far the Mountain Lions have been unable to make the adjustment from the first game. And mound visit for Godot, who has ran into trouble here and still trying to just get out of the second inning. That ball, it was a hard hit ball by Bill Ardello, and it may have gone right through his legs. Ruled a base hit, but it definitely looked like it was right to him.
It's tough for a pitcher to react to something like that when it's coming in fast like that, and your momentum's carrying you to first or the third base side, depending on where you finish up your delivery. It's tough to recuperate in that amount of time, and Gabot just could not center himself back around, and it went through the wickets. The Jags capitalizing on mistakes from Gabot, but that does shoot in their pin. They leave Gabot in to try to finish out the second. 1 run in the first, 3 in the second for the Jags. And now Gale, with a stick in his hand, he takes the first pitch strike inside. Laces one, opposite field approach, does Gale wonders on that one, as the throw back to second on a wide turn from Bill Ardello ushers in the third out here in the second. A break for Young Harris, as quick as the lightning was up for the Jags, it ends, and Young Harris has some work to do, down by 4. Young Harris looks to capitalize off an Augusta mistake, with Bill overrunning second, throw behind. And Govardon tries to edge out the outside corner, cannot in the following pitch. Winds up inside. Three straight balls now on the count. Dividends for Young Harris. And that ball skied into center field. Long trek in for Bill Ardello. Maddox tries to make an over-the-basket catch. A tough catch out for the shortstop, and he could not corral it. Tried to make a strong throw to second to catch the lead runner, halting halfway between second and first to see if that ball was caught. Just a tad late, so the threat is intact. As Graystick is your batter at the dish for Young Harris. As now both teams here in the third have accumulated an error. And Goerdon fires high, but not enough of an appetite for Graysick to try to connect with the baseball. Graysick again ganders at one that sails high and away. Now there's a conference going on between Goerdon and head coach Chris Howell and the shortstop Reynolds and Young Harris's head coach Stephen Wagner. Two balls and one strike. Blistering fastball causes Reynolds to try to play catch up. Gets a piece of it, but it is strike two on the board. If that happens on strike three, he will be out, because if the catcher catches a foul tip on the third strike, he's walking back to the dugout with an out on the board. 2-2 pitch underway.
He's just able to stay alive that one. That was even less of a tip than the other one, and Alford unable to catch that one. He stays alive.
Both runners take off, and that ball is cinched into right field in front of Moore, and Young here letting their first run.
And it was the jump that both Woolfolk and Worley had trying to steal that allowed them to advance an extra base, and in the case of Woolfolk, come home and score from second, and Worley advancing to third because of the jump and the great base running, although that could have been disaster had that been caught on a blooper like that.
Absolutely, and Moore has really good speed in right field and a phenomenal cannon, so
yeah,
that jump definitely helps him score that run there.
And you're looking at a possible triple play if that's caught too.
Absolutely. A bunt now advances both runners as the second run comes in. Small ball, ABC baseball works to perfection for the Mountain Lions.
That's the suicide squeeze working at its finest to get home the runner from third in Worley.
So and that ball is roped over to Ty Hobbs. Plays it off the bounce, and second out is the third run. It's approximately 90 feet from scoring. Couldn't do much with that pitch, but foul it in the dirt as Goer Don out in front yet again with the first strike. So there are 2 out in the third inning. Young Harris pushes across 2 here to make it interesting. Trailing by 2. Ground ball sharply hit. And the throw is not in time as he had a little bit of a bobble there.
See how they're going to rule that, but the ABCs of baseball once again are worked to perfection by the Mountain Lions, and that is an error on third baseman Jim Wagner for the bobble. And let's not forget Graysick singled and then advanced to second on a sacrifice, to third on a sacrifice, and scores on the air in the infield. It's how you advance bases and ultimately score. And that's an unearned run scored by Graysick because of the error, which should have been the third out. As a matter of fact, it would have been, the third out would have happened before then because there was already the error at shortstop on the pop fly.
Right. And Goer Don trying to settle back in and is quickly ahead in the count. 0 balls and 2 strikes. Jags just looking for the closing out. And the Mountain Lions looking to punish the Jags even more and extend this inning further out. Ball traveling into the dirt from Goer Don. Two balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs on the board. Slow developing changeup there is lifted into right field. And a single continues the offensive pressure.
And more ABCs of baseball as a successful hit and run advances Gayanu to third. He was taking off on the 2-2 pitch. And not a lot of speed, but taking off allowed him to get to third on the hit and run. As now the Mountain Lions will have seen, this is their 8th man coming to the plate this game, or this inning, in Lushington.
Washington's ready to swing away, but Goer Don a splitter. And these 3 runs have come off of the pure ability of the young Harris hitters. Goer Don has not made many mistakes out on the mound. They've just been able to pick their pitch and have an opposite field approach with it and serve it into holes. Goer Don in a hole himself, 2 balls and no strikes. That ball's ripped past a diving Wagner at third, and that ushers in the game-tying 4th run. This is a brand new ball game. All deadlocked back up at 4-4.
Because of the 2 errors, this is an unearned run.
Tyler Washington now. Walks up to the dish, wielding his bat, and ready to swing at what Govardhan has to offer.
And when his at-bat is over, the Mountain Lions will have batted around in this inning.
Target was outside. Pitch hits the target but cannot catch in the process the outside corner. And that ball's fisted out to short. Quick recuperation there from Maddox. Great play to end a simmering 3rd inning for the Mountain Lions. Jags do the best they can to halt this inning at 4 runs. Jags coming up right after this. Gilbo with a fresh lease on this game with the game tied back up. Stands in to face designated hitter Zach Goebel for the Jags. Jags have been ever patient with Gilbo and observing a lot of the pitches that have been near the strike zone and outside of it. That ball, though, it was aggressive with Goebel, and he just lines it into center field. Jags continue their hot hitting at the dish.
And that's huge for the Jaguars to answer after surrendering 4 runs at the top of the inning. The Jaguars doing, that's not going to be an issue.
Absolutely. To either fight on the infield or try to create space between the ball and the ground and either hit a line drive or a fly ball and not run into a double play here. It's Harrison Moore, the right fielder, jets into the dish. And the first pitch he watches is a ball in the dirt. Stops a swing, catches the lower inside corner for Gilbo. really good pitch to come back with a strike. You got Goebel at first. Moore watching. That fastball settles right over the outside corner. And that ball's smacked into the ground. 6-4-3 double play, and the Jags, what started out as a promising threat to this third inning, comes up empty with a double play for 2 outs.
Moore is a fast runner, but unfortunately the ball was just hit too hard for him to have a chance to beat out the throw.
Absolutely, and not only that, but played perfectly at shortstop. Good, clean transfers all the way around. Or wait, no, Moore actually beat out the throw. So he is standing at first base. Thought the throw might have beat him, but speed prevails for Moore at first. So there's only 1 out now.
It's a close play. That is for sure.
We've seen a couple of close plays at first base today. As Gabo does not have the advantage in this matchup, as Mason stands in, and that throw 2-hop second base and is into center field. So an aggressive Moore turns into chaos for Young Harris on the base pads, and he is standing at third with only 1 out.
Well, his speed has been the major factor this inning, as it helped him beat out the throw to avoid the double play, and ultimately putting him on third, creating more trouble potentially for Young Harris. And should be an error on the catcher for the throw that took the bad hop, and there was a little bit of intimidation by the middle infield of the Mountain Lions on the hop. They kind of had to duck. They kind of looked like they were trying to duck out of the way of it to avoid being hit.
And that ball's rattled to first base. They throw back over to third, trying to get Moore, who dives back into third base successfully.
And Moore is shaken up, trying to slow to get up on the play. And that may have been a mistake, because they would have had an easy out at first. It's possible that Moore would have scored had they gone to first with his aggressive base running. So maybe if you're Young Harris, you're glad to have given the Jaguars an extra out to work with. But nevertheless, that would have been an easy out at first base. If there were 2 outs, obviously they'd totally go to. It wouldn't matter. And it looks like we have a pinch hitter we'll tell you about in just a moment.
The situation is in the bat of Timothy Gray. Comes in as a pinch hitter. Stares at a first pitch strike on the outside corner. But it depends on what happens this at bat. That was a good decision by Gayona at first base to throw over to third. Gabo winds up and deals. Same pitch, same location, same result. With Robertson and Gray just strikes out off of a pitch that seemed to navigate over the outside corner. That is a present for Young Harris, and the last thing you wanted to see if you're the Jaguars is now there's 2 outs on the board. And Gabo, with great pitch sequencing there, is only 1 out away from closing the deal in the inning. Gabo, this at bat's living on the outside corner, and right there he hits it. Runner takes off.
That's a stolen base, easy decision, and a brilliant decision by Ewald to not throw to second with more speed at third.
Now with Robertson and Moore 90, Robertson 180. A single may score both of them here.
And with 2 outs, they're going to be running on contact, which should give them a head start.
And that ball's skied into center field. And Young Harris, via the glove of Woolfolk in center, shuts the book on the 3rd inning as we mosey to the top half of the 4th inning. It's a crazy 3rd inning. The threat is squandered. See what Young Harris has in store for us in the 4th. On the way back. To tell you all about the juicy details of how we have come up to a 4-4 tie and take you play-by-play innings 4 through 7. Here's Robert Ambrose.
Thank you, Blake. Great job in the first 3 innings, and for those wondering about the details of how we got to where we are, the Jaguars scored a run in the first and 3 in the 3rd, and all of a sudden the Mountain Lions answered with 4 runs in the top of the 3rd, and they come to bat here in the top of the 4th, and Woolfolk looks at strike 1, 0-1 is the count. And now the 0-1 pitch on its way, and that hits him. Or did he just barely jump out of the way? Appears as though he did. That was an acrobatic jump to get out of the way of that one. I'll tell you that. Woolfolk led off last inning with a walk. Came in to score the first of 4 runs as the Mountain Lions batted around, and he leads off again here in the 4th. He's going to be followed by Worley, and he looks at strike 2, 1, and 2.
Phenomenal looking change up there by Govardon. Froze Woolfolk solid.
And as you might imagine, as the 1-2 pitch swung on, lined, caught by a leaping Mason Robertson, who was in perfect position right from the get-go, one away.
Did not even have to move a muscle until he started his leap up. Timed it great. That all worked with timing. Phenomenal job there by Robertson to pull down out number 1.
Outstanding play, and that's going to bring up Logan Worley. And I was trying to mention before how the Mountain Lions have done a lot of shuffling with their lineup over the weekend. And obviously the Jaguars, after the fireworks their offense put up, the only change they made is the number 7 spot, Brent Alford, catching instead of Caleb McElwaney. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same, and minus, of course, the pitcher. But speaking of some of the changes that the Mountain Lions have made over the last couple of games in this series, the 1-1 pitch to Worley, grounded to the third, bobbled by Wagner, throw across the diamond. In time, he's able to recover for out number 2. 2 up and 2 down. A much better start to this inning than the last inning for the Jaguars on defense against the same batters starting it off. We're back to the top of the Mountain Lion lineup with Graysick.
Yeah, the objective there was just to keep with the ball. You'd stopped it with the glove. You didn't corral it, but strong style is to stay with it. Wagner did that, recuperated just nicely to get the second out.
Called strike on Graysick. Graysick, the leadoff hitter here in this game. In yesterday's game, as the 0-1 pitch in there for a called strike, 0-2 to Graysick. In yesterday's game, game 1 of the series, Worley was the leadoff hitter. He was also the leadoff hitter today in game 1. But yesterday, Woolfolk was the number 2 hitter. And here in this one, game 2 of the doubleheader and game 3 of the 3-game series, Woolfolk and Worley are the 8 and 9 hitters. So that shows you how much shuffling the Mountain Lions have done with their lineup over the weekend. The ball on 2 strikes to Graysick. Pitch is popped up, foul territory. And the catch is made by Ty Hobbs, who goes over from first. And that will end the inning. 1-2-3. Go the Mountain Lions. The Jaguars will come to bat with the game tied at 4 in inning number 4 as we go to the bottom half of the inning. On the other side of this break, we'll be back. Homestead Stadium is coming to bat in. It'll be Trent Maddox, the number 9 hitter. Devin Ari Gale. The Jaguars stranded a pair of runners in scoring position last inning. What was a very interesting inning, to say the least. And here's the pitch to Maddox, who's leading off the inning. He looks at strike 1, 0-1. Maddox singled and scored back in the second in his first plate appearance. He's 1 for 1. And the 0-1 pitch misses 1-1. Correction, this is Ty Hobbs, the batter. With Maddox on deck, and Hobbs fouls that one back to the screen, 1-2. So it's the 8-9-1 hitters starting the inning off. And that's lined and a base hit up the middle into left field for Hobbs to lead off the inning. The board that's going to bring up Maddox, the number 9 hitter.
Hobbs with a phenomenal adjustment there. Started off wanting fastballs. Noticed how Gilbo was going to pitch him. Settled back, made the adjustments on a curveball, and then wrapped it around for a single into left field.
So here's Maddox. Maddox 1 for 1 in this game with a single and a run scored. He shows bunt, gets it down, butted nicely right back over to Gibbo, who throws to second and gets the lead runner. And Maddox is on the fielder's choice. And now we're back to the top of the Jaguar lineup with Devin Billardello, who's 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout so far in this game. This is the rubber match of a 3-game series. The Jaguars won Game 1 of today's doubleheader, which was also Game 2 of the 3-game series, and dropped the series opener yesterday 4-0 in a pitcher's duel.
The bright side there for the Jags is Maddox does have a little bit better speed on the base paths than Hobbs.
Never hurts to add speed on the base paths without having to utilize a pinch runner.
Absolutely. And with the bunt Maddox put down, he just didn't deaden the ball enough in the grass. He let the ball attack the bat, but the ball did not deaden where he wanted to, and that's what led Gibbo to throw over to second.
And the 1-0 in there for strike 1 and 1. And Hobbs, not a very fast runner, not a great jump off of first. And that makes it a lot harder to beat out the throw at second as well. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Billardello. 1 out, one runner on first. Here in this inning, aces are wild here. Now here's the pitch. High chopper, grounder to third, throw to second. Billardello outs. And the Mountain Lions want interference. They believe that the slide by Maddox prevented the double play. I'm not so sure if that was the case, but that's what the Mountain Lions are going to try to discuss here.
It would have been close at first base, but you look at how Billardello he was to walk off the ball. Billardello would have beat that out easily.
Oh, absolutely. So that's going to bring up, assuming this stands, it's going to bring up Bakari Gale. 2 outs in the inning, runner on first.
And plus, on that play, you're not trying to hurt anybody on the slide. You're just trying to break up the double play. And even still, Maddox slid directly into the base pad. He didn't slide out to take out one of the young Harris players. So that is a clean play, especially in minor league and college baseball.
Clean play with what may have been just an unfortunate result, and that's just sometimes the way the game goes.
Absolutely. Now, if it's in the majors, then you might have a matter to contest. But in college and in the minors, it's still the way the old school game is played.
You would think that the majors should at some point revert to the college rule for safety. I mean, let's not forget what happened to Buster Posey in 2011.
Right.
With stricter rules, that would not have happened without the rule being broken.
Mm-hmm.
They're still disputing it. Everybody's okay. Nobody's hurt, of course, but they just believe that interference resulted in the out happening, or then the in and out being prevented, which could have been a double play. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, it was a clean slide, and he did not slide out of the base paths. Did Maddox. So safe at first is Billardello, and probably the right call, as the umpires were right on it. So that's going to bring up Bakari Gale. He's 2 for 2 in this game, a pair of singles and a run scored. He scored a run back in the first inning, which at the time gave the Jaguars a 1-0 lead. And the pitch to Gale misses downstairs, a ball and no strikes. On our first 2 outs 4 runs apiece in inning number 4. And it's lined in the center field, and the catch is made for the third and final out of the inning. So the Jaguars, after a pair of fielders' choices, strand a runner on first. We remain tied at 4 after 4 here at Lake Homestead Stadium. We'll be back. Welcome back to Lake Homestead Stadium. It's the top of the 5th inning, set to start. And the first pitch to Corley Reynolds misses for a ball. 1-0. 2, 3, 4 hitters due to start this inning for the Mountain Lions against Gulberton. And the 1-0 pitch is in there for a called strike. 1-1 to Reynolds. And the 1-1 in there, called strike 1-2.
Outside of that 4-run third inning, Gulberton is settled in nicely, putting zeros up all around that 4-run inning. Trying to do the same here.
And it's chopped foul. Again, count remains 0-2. In the Jaguars game against North Greenville on February 27th, they scored 7 runs in the second inning, 0 runs the rest of the game. So far in this game, the Mountain Lions have scored 4 runs in the third and 0 runs the rest of the game. We're tied at 4. Still a long way to go in this one, however. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Corley Reynolds. Here's the pitch on its way. Checked his swing. Did he go? He did not on a pitch in the dirt, and the count is full.
It's a good eye by Reynolds to check his swing as that ball was dying in the dirt.
3-2 pitch is going to be chopped, and that just rolls foul on the right field line. Took one small bounce to the right and rolled foul.
That was the right idea there because it was going to be a tough play for Hobbs to spin back around and try to connect with Gulberton racing to first base. So it was the right decision there to let that ball skew foul.
Count still full on Reynolds, 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. Towering pop fly, left center field. Giving chase, making the catch for the Jaguars. That's Bill Ardello, who called off Bakari Gale and left. Makes the catch for out number 1.
Good job there from Gulberton, isolating the inside corner. Young Harris tried to adjust mid-swing, could not wrapped the bat head in the middle of the baseball, tapped it underneath, and the pop-up was secured by Billadella.
First pitch swing by Jones, and he lines that one up the middle into center field on a grounder for a base hit. 1 on, 1 out for the Mountain Lions. It's going to bring up Gayano. Rudy Gayano. Gayona, I should say. He's had a great 2 games here today so far, or a game and a half, however you look at it. So far in this one, a single, and he reached on an error and scored. He's 1 for 2. He had a couple hits in game 1 today. He was 0 for 4 yesterday, however. And the pitch to Gayona, that misses inside for a ball, 1-0. On Gayona. On first, 1 out. The 1-0 pitch misses. 2 balls and no strikes.
Gordon trying to establish the outside corner. Just barely misses.
Check on the runner at first. During game 1 of today's doubleheader, there was quite the breeze going out to left and center field, and that may have contributed to some of the balls going over the fence in left field for home runs. Right now, the wind is absolutely non-existent. The flag is completely still in center field. The 2-0 pitch, swing and a miss, 2-1 on Gayona.
Speed on that fastball absolutely changes the course of that at-bat. Blew it right by him.
Gayona will be followed by Corey Ewald, the catcher, who has 2 home runs in this series already, 1 in each of the first 2 games. The 2-1 pitch is hit in the air to right center field. Moore charging, sliding, and he makes the catch for out number 2. What a catch by Harrison Moore.
That is 2 diving stabs from Moore this series that have been absolutely unbelievable out there in right. What great concentration, great body control going to the grass to make the play. Outstanding for the Jags.
That results in a second out. It's going to bring up Corey Ewald. He's 1 for 2 in this game. Reached on a fielder's choice, and he also singled, so he's reached base twice. And pitch to Ewald misses for a ball, 1-0. He homered yesterday, and he homered in game 1 of today's double. And the 1-0, swing and a miss. Ball and a strike to Ewald.
The pin is alive and working out there in left field for the Jags.
Likely will be for the remainder of the game. You'll likely see the same thing for the Mountain Lions in this one. Swing and a miss by Ewald, 1-2.
Go or Don.
The 1-2 pitch, checked his swing. Did he go? He did not. Pitch was in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's got good movement on that splitter that he has, and just not enough to entice the Mountain Lions there.
Deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Time is called. And that wipes away what looked like a very good pitch by Gilbert Hahn to end the inning. Instead, it's no pitch. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a check once again on the runner at first. Jones does not have much of a lead at first. He is the Mountain Lions' designated hitter. here in this one. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Down on strikes goes Ewald, and that ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Here at the lake, we remain tied at 4 with the Jaguars coming to bat. You're watching and listening to the Augusta University Athletics Broadcast Network on YouTube. We'll be back. Welcome you back here to the lake. It'll be Zach Goebel leading things off for the Augusta Jaguars in the bottom half of the 5th inning. We're set to start. Goebel's the designated hitter. He'll be followed by Harrison Moore, who made an outstanding sliding catch in the top half of this inning to rob the Mountain Lions of a base hit. And pitch misses outside to Goebel, 1-0. Moore will be followed by Mason Robertson, and if any one of them reach, we'll see Jim Wagner make a plate appearance this inning. Ball and no strikes on Goebel. 1 for 2 on the game. Homered in game 1 in the first inning to put the Jaguars ahead for good. There was no looking back after that. Jaguar offense has been outstanding since then in this doubleheader. Ball and a strike on Goebel. And here's the pitch. And that misses inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
12 runs in the first game for the Jags, and then 1 run in the first for the Jags here, and then 3 to boot in the second.
The first 10 offensive innings in this doubleheader for the Jaguars. Let's not forget they did not bat in the 9th inning of game 1. Combined for 16 runs during that stretch. They scored 0 runs yesterday. 3 balls and a strike on Goebel. And the 3-1, and that misses inside, and Goebel draws a leadoff walk.
Keen eyes for Goebel. Watches a couple of pitches sail out of the zone, and then that pitch was up and in. And he takes his free pass to first base. Excellent piece of hitting there from Goebel. Not swinging at bad pitches, just letting the pitches fall where they may, and he's standing at first with a walk.
Gonna bring up Harrison Moore. Reached twice in this game on a single, and then was caught stealing. Also reached on a fielder's choice. Grounds that one up the middle. Reynolds fields it, throws to first. No chance to get the out at second, and it's not in time as Moore beats it out. For the second time in this game, he beats out a throw to first. Did so on the fielder's choice. His last at bat in the 3rd, and does so again here in the 5th. And the Jaguars are in business. Runners on 1st and 2nd. 2 outs. Time is called. We will have a mound visit, and we'll see what the Mountain Lions do here.
That was a slow developing chopper up the gut that Reynolds did all he could to try to secure it. And when he went to the ground to make sure he kept the ball in front of him, Goebel had slid into second, so the only option he had was to try to fire a heater to first base to secure the strike, but more speed, lightning quick, beats out the wrap at first, and Jags are cooking with Crisco now.
And that is the end of the night for Dylan Gibbo. He goes 4+ innings, allows 4 runs off of 8 hits. A rough outing for him, and he's responsible for the runners that are currently on first and second. So statistically, his night is not yet over. With the pitching change, we will let you know who the new pitcher is on the other side of this break on the Augusta University Athletics Broadcast Network on YouTube. Welcome you back here to Lake Olmsted Stadium after pitching change. The new pitcher for the Mountain Lions is McLean Harris, a 6-foot sophomore. 200 pounds, went to Spalding High School in Griffin, Georgia. In Harris, runners on first and second and nobody out. It's going to be a lot of work to get out of this jam here that he has entered the game in the middle of. The first batter he will face will be Mason Robertson, the Jaguars' second baseman. Robertson has reached base a pair of times in this game already. Every single Jaguar hitter has already reached base at least once in this game, and we're not even through 5. By way of either a hit, a walk, or a fielder's choice. And they all expect the bunt, and Robertson takes all the way, and it's a ball 1-0. Didn't even move the bat at all.
So you'll have the wheel play going on at third. Third baseman crashes down for the bunt. Shortstop covers third, and then it'll be business as usual over on the right side.
Infield in on the corners, check on the runners. If Robertson is able to get down a good bunt, it's going to be difficult for the infield of the Mountain Lions just to make the play at first with Robertson's speed. He's only a freshman, so this could cause a lot of problems for the Mountain Lions if he does successfully lay down a bunt. Here's the 1-0. Taking all the way again. Once again, his bat didn't even move at all. Not that it had to on either of the first 2 pitches. It's 2-0. Turning into a beautiful sunset here at the lake. Last day before daylight savings time. As we will set our clocks ahead 1 hour tonight. A reminder to everybody watching to do the same as well. And the 2-0 misses 3-0. And thanks to everyone for tuning in with championship week going on in college basketball. And boy, it's been an exciting week of conference tournament action all over the country for those into college basketball. A lot of great games, and the great games will get even better next week when we get into the March Madness.
Yep. Providence takes down Xavier last night.
In overtime, outstanding game.
You had a couple of amazing games last night.
You gonna do a bracket this year?
Probably not.
Really?
I haven't had the opportunity to do it in my life, and
really. 3-1 pitch. That's a called strike. 3-2 count as full.
And well, with teams like VCU upsetting a couple of years ago, coming out of nowhere and completely turning the tables on prominent teams, anything can happen in this tournament, and that's what makes the college playoff system, as far as the Sweet 16 and 64, so darn watchable. Is the fact that anything can happen on any given day.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest tournaments in all of sports, postseason or otherwise. Another foul by Robertson. Bat here. He is completely abandoned the bunt, which is not at all what the Mountain Lions have expected. There's a lot of mid-majors this year that could make a run. Rhode Island's had a really good year. They had a good year last year, too, and they're even better this year, ranked, and they're in the A-10 title game tomorrow.
Yep.
Wichita State has had a very successful year, the first year in a power conference for them in the AAC. Moving over from the Missouri Valley. From last season, 3-2, swing and a miss by Robertson. Down on strikes, he goes on the curveball. That's going to bring up Jim Wagner with 2 on and 1 out here in the 5th.
So Mason did a really good job of battling in front to put McLean in a hole, 3 balls and no strikes, and then just by that same token, the shoe was on the other foot with great fundamental pitching on the back end for the strikeout by McLean.
Outstanding pitching as well on the curveball by Harris. You're absolutely right about that. So here's Wagner. He has a sacrifice and a fielder's choice in this game. He's 0 for 2. So he's reached once. Time is called. This is the final game of a 9-game homestand for the Jaguars.
Yep. And then the Jags will be back here, I believe, in 2 weeks, as they take on Coker. The next home game will be on the 21st, and then North Georgia 23rd through the 25th here at Lake Olmsted Stadium.
Called strike to Wagner, 0-1. And we will have that one for you right here on the Augusta University Athletics Broadcast Network on YouTube. Hope you all tune in for that as well. We look forward to bringing that with you as well as all the remaining home games for the Jaguars here at the Lake this season.
29 home games on the schedule for the Jags this year.
Season's already half over. It's really hard to believe at this point, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's going by a little too fast for my liking.
It honestly feels like just yesterday we started baseball back here at Lake Olmsted Stadium. It is flying by.
And there will be no Green Jackets games here this year, as they have moved across the river to North Augusta, South Carolina, opening up brand new SRP Park here next year. This was the home of the Green Jackets up until Labor Day of 2017. The Green Jackets in their final game defeated the Charleston River Dogs to close out an era in style. Ball and 2 strikes on Wagner. But it's a beautiful park across the river.
Oh, absolutely.
South Carolina, North Augusta.
Absolutely.
SRP Park. The 1-2 misses 2 balls and 2 strikes on Wagner.
It'll be absolutely a delight to watch baseball over there, see how that new park plays and how the caroms are off the walls, and everything you get used to with a new baseball park when you just get in it. It's going to be fun.
It's exciting times, for sure. The 2-2, Swung on, fouled back to the screen.
And another factor with that is, too, whether they have dirt out on the diamond or if they have turf. If they have, like, AstroTurf or any kind of turf, that's going to play quicker than if you just have regular dirt out there on the diamond. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that as well.
Well, they just installed the grass just the other day for the first time. So, stadium looks ready to go for the most part. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Runners on first and second here in the bottom of the 5th. Jaguars up, tied at 4 against the Mountain Lions, and time is called. I'm not so sure who called the time on that. If it was officials' time. Check on the runners. And the 2-2 pitch that just misses outside, and the count is full on Wagner. A beautiful eye by Wagner and a beautiful job to lay off the curveball there, which curved outside.
This is a crucial at bat because Augusta, with the threat looming, would like to secure, if not 2, one of the insurance runs out on the diamond.
And the 3-2 pitch, and that's crushed foul.
And the tensiest moments continue as this crowd is on the edge of their seats.
Count full on Wagner. Good at bat here.
Thus far, this is McLean's inning. The bullpen is silent right now for the Mountain Lions.
That's popped up. Foul territory. That's gonna go into the stands. Good effort by the Mountain Lions to try and go after that one. By Gaona from first base, tried to make a catch and just barely ran out of the room, and the little fence dividing the field from the stands may have prevented him from making a spectacular catch.
Absolutely, that landed about 4 rows back out there.
Time is called once again. This was what is turning into a prolonged inning. Let's not forget, Gabot is still responsible for the runners on first and second. Those are runners in which Harris had inherited when he came on relief a third of an inning ago, and then struck out Robertson on a good at bat in which Robertson worked the count full. Now Wagner has done the same thing. So they're making him work right out of the bullpen. Nothing's coming easy for him. The 3-2 pitch on its way, swung on, line foul once again, and the at-bat continues for Wagner. The fact that there is absolutely no wind whatsoever here in this game compared to a heavy wind in Game 1, which resulted in 3 line drive rockets out of the ballpark, combined by both teams all to left field where the wind was blowing. It has shown here in the second game, with the wind not being as much a factor, the ball has not carried nearly as well as we saw in Game 1 with some of those hard-hit balls.
Absolutely.
Count full, check on the runners. Here comes the payoff pitch once again, and that's popped up. That's going to go over into foul territory again, and this time the catch is made. Just enough room to make the play, out number 2.
Jim Wagner with an impeccable battle with McLean. Just a touch underneath the baseball there. Not much you could have done with it. Second out is made, but it also gives the at bat off to Brent Alford here to do some damage.
There's the catcher Alford. He's scored in this game already. He was the only lineup change for the Jaguars for Game 2 compared to Game 1. He did not play in Game 1. And Caleb McElwaney did the catching, batting in the 7th spot, and This time Alford does the catching in the 7th spot, and that's the only lineup change for the Jaguars from game 1 to 2. Called strike on Alford. Obviously, if you're Coach Howell, you don't want to see somebody catch 18 innings of baseball in one day. That's a little too much wear and tear for you. No balls and a strike on Alford.
Especially with how their knees get beat up all the time behind home plate with blocking balls and everything else.
Absolutely.
That comes with the catcher position.
The 0-1. That's in there for a called strike. 0-2 to Alford. Trying to extend the inning for Ty Hobbs. And also put the Jaguars on top here in the tied game.
Well, McLean has found a friend in the outside corner. He's exposed the outside corner twice now for 2 straight strikes. Let's see if the Jags protect here and cover that portion. But if you're McLean, you want to think with them and battle against that thought as well.
And the 0-2 pitch misses in the dirt. 1-2, the runners hold. 1st and 2nd, so a ball and 2 strikes on Alford. Jaguars 4 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors. Mountain Lions 4 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error in this game 2. For doubleheader, final game of a 3-game series. Final game of a 9-game Jaguar homestand. The final game of a lot of things, as far as I can tell. 1-2 pitch in the air to deep left center field. Back over to get it, and making the catch. Woolfolk makes the catch, and that ends the inning. And the Jaguars strand a pair of runners. As we go to the 6th, the game remains tied at 4. We'll be back. We are back here at the lake, set to start the top of the 6th inning. It'll be Lushington, Washington, and Woolfolk to lead it off for the Mountain Lions. The Jaguars stranded a pair of runners on base last half inning and did not score any runs in an inning that lasted over 30 minutes, a half inning that was 31 minutes long. And the Jaguars with nothing to show for it. And that's not an exaggeration. It was a 31-minute bottom of the 5th inning. The Jaguars stranded 2 runners, did not score. The 0-1 in the air to right field. Moore going over, and Harrison Moore makes the catch for the first out.
Had the right idea to Lushington there, but did not get the full bat around on the baseball. It just served it into right field. Well, that's where Moore is camped out. Makes the catch.
And now Tyler Washington. Washington follows Lushington. And the pitch to Washington misses for a ball 1-0. Now the 1-0 pitch. In there for a called strike, 1-1. Aces wild, a ball striking out. Game tied at 4 in the top of the 6th inning. There has not been any scoring since the top of the 3rd, when the Mountain Lions, who trailed 4-0, scored 4 runs in that half inning to tie it at 4. We're in the top of the 6th. There's been no scoring since the 4-run top of the 3rd by the Mountain Lions. And the 2-1 misses count 3 balls and a strike to Washington.
Those are tough pitches to take.
3-1 pitch misses for ball 4. Washington draws a 1-out walk, and that's going to bring up Woolfolk, who in this game is 1 for 2, or 0 for 1, I should say, with a walk, which does not count as an official at bat. He also scored a run. He walked to lead off he led off in both of his at bats, first 2 at bats in this game. He walked to lead off the 3rd, scored the first of 4 Mountain Lion runs that inning, which led to the game becoming tied, and he flew out to second, his 2nd time up, to lead off the 4th. That was the first of what was a 3-up, 3-down inning offensively for the Mountain Lions, and he is hit by pitch on the first pitch of his 3rd plate appearance, and it's 2 on with 1 out. That's going to advance Washington to second. And that's going to bring up the number 9 hitter for the Mountain Lions in Logan Worley.
And that may be the night for Gohardon. We'll see what Howell wants to do.
Bullpen has been busy for quite a while now for the Jaguars. Going to talk things over. Seems like this crowd there's a lot of Mountain Lion fans here in this one. There's been a lot of applauses for them as well in this game.
It's been about 70-30% as far as the crowd goes here today, especially with the doubleheader. Both sides, multiple things to cheer about.
That's always the case when it's a good game. It seems back and forth like there's cheering after just about everything, and that's always a good thing in the game of baseball when you have a good game like that.
Oh, absolutely. It keeps you in tune to the game. There's a ton of people that say baseball is too slow for some people to watch and not be able to stick with it and leave the game of baseball. But in a game like this, when every pitch and every single moment counts, especially in this game, it's a barn burner. And it's definitely something you want to tune in and see the outcome of this game.
That's why the game of baseball is so great, because every moment does count. Even if it is slow, it's slow for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Ball, a strike, and out. 2 runners on. They're trying to speed up the warming up in the Jaguars bullpen. And the 1-1. Hit in the air to center field. Bill Ardello will give chase. He goes over. He makes the catch. And the runners will have to tag up. And they get back safely. But what a catch on the run by Bill Ardello. He had to cover quite a bit of ground to get over there. And just barely was able to reach out his glove just far enough to make the catch and avoid having to dive for it.
Well, too, on that last little gasp effort from Bill Ardello with bringing down the catch, he broke his stride in a last lunge to retain it. He did a great job of covering as much ground as he could to make that catch. Phenomenal work out there by Bill Ardello.
Absolutely outstanding. Now we're back to the top of the order for the Mountain Lions, and Graysick. Graysick is 1 for 3 in this game. He singled and scored a run. Back in the 3rd, he scored the 3 of 4 runs in that 3rd inning. Jaguars stranded a pair of runners last half inning, and they're hoping now for the Mountain Lions to do the same here in the 6th. 2 on and 2 out. A ball and no strikes. Now the count on Graysick. Graysick trying to extend the inning for Reynolds, who's due up on deck, and he also trying to put them on top. The 1-0, high chopper up the middle. That's through for a base hit. Around third, Washington, he's going to score. And the first runs scored by either team in this game since the 3rd inning when the Mountain Lions scored 4 runs. They score 1 here in the 6th and take a 5-4 lead.
Did not try to muscle it out. Did not try to pull the ball and wrap the bat head around it and show his muscle with it. He just did what a slap hitter would do or a very good hitter for average would do. And the fact going with it the other way, having an opposite field approach, and at times that means shooting the ball back up the gut like he did. And much to young Harris's credit, a great piece of hitting turns into a run for the Mountain Lions.
Once again, the ABCs of baseball. A walk, a hit batsman, and a single lead to a run. And the pitch to Reynolds is fouled away, 0-1. Reynolds is 0 for 3. A pair of flyouts and a ground out, a sacrifice ground out. No balls and a strike to Reynolds. Trying to extend the inning for Jones and extend the lead for the Mountain Lions. Tonight's the last night it's going to get dark early for quite a while. Daylight savings time beginning overnight tonight. A reminder to everyone tuning in to set your clocks ahead 1 hour before you go to bed tonight. The 0-1 pitch. Line down the right field line, foul. 0-2. That fifth run of the game, the run this inning, scored by Washington, is charged to Gulberthon, and Gulberthon is still responsible for the runner. Actually, runner on second. He's still in the game. Bullpen's still busy for the Jaguars. Gulberthon trying to get out of this sixth inning. He's a strike away from doing so. And the 0-2 pitch misses upstairs for a ball, 1-2. In the bottom half of this inning, the Jaguars will have the 8-9-1 due up. Ty Hobbs, Trent Maddox, and Devin Billardello to start the inning due up. And they have in a rundown Woolfolk, and Woolfolk is out at third on a major base running mistake. And the Jaguars, I'm sure, will happily take that. As we go to the bottom of the sixth now, Jaguars trail by a run. What has been a very entertaining game so far. We'll be back. Welcome you back here to the bottom of the sixth inning. Jaguars at the plate. Ty Hobbs, the number 8 hitter, starting it off. He'll be followed by Trent Maddox and Devin Billardello. For the Jaguars, trying to answer after surrendering a run in the top of the inning. They now trail 5-4. That's crushed down the left field line, but foul over the playground and into Millage Road. It's going to be a souvenir for, looks like there was a lucky fan hanging out in the road watching the game through the fence.
You can just imagine a face on the baseball screaming after that line drive. That was absolutely rocketed foul.
And it is, as they call it, a screaming line drive when it's hit that hard.
Absolutely.
Hobbs was just a little bit out in front of that one. The 0-1 misses. Ball and a strike. Jaguars with 4 runs off of 8 hits in this game. Have not scored since the second inning when they scored 3 runs to take a 4-0 lead. The Mountain Lions instantly answered with a 4-run top of the third to tie the game at 4. There was no more scoring the rest of the way until the top of this inning when the Mountain Lions added a run to take a 5-4 lead. Their first of this game and their first of the day since leading the bottom of the first in game 1 before Zach Goebel hit the 2-run home run to put the Jaguars up for good in that one. Jaguars did not look back after that, and their offense continued to roll through the second inning of this game, but have been silenced since. The 1-2 pitch misses for a ball, 2 balls, and 2 strikes on Ty Hobbs. Hobbs 1 for 2 in this game with a single and a strikeout.
Hobbs is not afraid to show a keen eye there. A very good take off of a borderline pitch. Usually those pitches are extremely close to take, but Hobbs and Augusta get the call.
2-2 pitch, towering pop fly. It's going to stay in the infield. Under it, Harris makes the catch easily for out number 1. That's going to bring up Trent Maddox.
It's not very often you see a pitcher take the generalship of calling that ball and wanting the ball coming down with the catch.
Certainly not.
Because the last thing you want as a ball club is a pitcher on a play like that getting injured, and that's the reason why they usually let the fielders take the charge. But that ball was perfectly placed for McLean to call everybody off.
And a called strike on the pitch to Maddox, 0-1. It's one of those top flies where the entire infield could basically assemble around the ball, but Harris able to call them all off, like you said, making the catch. The 0-1 pitch to Maddox misses for a ball and a strike.
And then also, too, lessens the chance of miscommunication, too, when you've got a guy under it screaming for it. When they don't have to converge like that, it takes a lot of chances away from a miscommunicating play out on the diamond.
Now the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2 is the count. On Maddox. On deck is Devin Billardello, and what a catch he made last half inning. And now the 1-2 pitch misses for a ball, 2 balls, and 2 strikes to Maddox. It's turned into a beautiful night. It was scattered clouds most of the day, but it's now a beautiful sunset and a beautiful night here in the CSRA. And a beautiful part of the country this time of year.
That ball was parallel to the inside corner, just never crossed it.
2-2 pitch is chopped foul. And Maddox able to recognize that on that last pitch and was able to lay off, like you said. It's got to be over, not parallel, to be a strike.
Exactly.
Unless the hitter chases, of course. The 2-2 pitch on its way. Swing and a miss on the cut fastball down on strikes. Maddox, 2 out, nobody on here in the 6th. It's going to bring up Devin Billardello. We're at the top of the Jaguars order.
Yeah, Maddox expecting that ball to slide back over the outside corner. Did not slide at all. Stayed outside. Went down swinging. Might have swung a ball 4. But as it is now, Devin Billardello has a chance with the bases empty.
We begin the Jaguars' 4th trip of the game through the batting order. Ball and no strikes. Now the 1-0. That's also a called strike. nothing and one, or 1-1, I should say. Bill Darlow, if he can reach. Gale will bat. Bakari Gale waiting on deck. The 1-1 pitch on its way from Harris. And that's on the outside corner for a called strike 2. 1-2.
The 1-2 battery pitcher to catcher relationship is so imperative to the game in terms of executing pitches well. That framework was phenomenal by Ewald to secure the second strike in the at-bat.
Ball and 2 strikes to Bill Ardello. The pitch, swing and a miss. And the Jaguars are set down in order here in the bottom of the 6th. Still trail at 5-4 as we go to the 7th at the Lake. We'll be back. Welcome you back here to Lake Olmsted Stadium. Jaguars trail it 5-4 as we are starting the top of the 7th inning. The Jaguars have a new pitcher, that's Casey Linock. And to tell you all about him and to take you the rest of the way with the play-by-play, I'm going to turn it over to Blake Collins. Blake, take it away.
Thank you so much, Robert. Lenock has come in and shut the door on several outings for the Jags this year. He is a strong right-handed bullpen sidewinding arm. His first pitch, though, sails outside.
Reynolds was in the middle of an at-bat when the last half inning ended when Woolfolk was thrown out after a base-running blunder. And that probably worked out for the better for him, even though it was a big mistake on the bases by Woolfolk, because Reynolds, who was behind in the count at the time, 1-2, gets to start here with a fresh count.
And it stifled that 6-inning threat that the Mountain Lions were pursuing. And Reynolds awaits. Outside corner right down the concourse opening area into the stands here at Lake Olmsted Stadium. Laydock now with the 1-1. Just a fringe outside. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Laydock fires away. And that ball is grounded out to right field foul. Leenock has battled inside, has gone outside. Tries to connect with the outside corner there. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And now the pressure's all on Leenock here to make the hit. Reynolds either make contact or strike him out, but he does the third option out of the trio and walks Reynolds to first base. And now Chris Howell again out to the mound to talk to Leenock.
Leenock out of the bullpen walks the first batter he faced as Reynolds took advantage of starting the count over after the last inning ended in the middle of a count for him. And one of the concerns of the Jaguars, who have a relatively fresh bullpen going into this doubleheader and still have one to this point in this game, but it's been a struggle, and that's something that obviously the Coach Howell wants to figure out and be able to keep an eye on throughout this game and a close game like this.
Exactly, and it also shows you how imperative and how phenomenal it was to see Meeks last night and then today with Penley go as long as they did as a starter for the Jags and pushing the bullpen to only close a few innings. Now, Leenock is a ground ball specialist with keeping the ball down and inducing ground balls. He looks to get one off the bat of Jackson here to earn a double play. Just a pinch outside.
Jaguars, after falling behind last inning, don't want the lead to get any worse.
That ball does not reach the outside corner. As Leenock now with 2 straight balls. And with you down a run for the Jags, you want to try to suppress this threat and hold the score right where it is. As Leenock comes back firing a strike on the outside corner. Leenock again, wheels and deals. That ball's laced into right center field. That is trouble, and the runners are on their high horses. Second to third, they go. And just like that, the threat is multiplied with the runners moving up 180 feet respectively from first to third and from home to second. And Leenock is not in the best position out on the mound that you want to be in, but he's try to work around a walk and a double and try to get outs here.
Might be the only opportunity he has to do something here with the bullpen still busy. Jaguars want to use their entire... If you're the Jaguars with a fresh bullpen like they have, you'd want to be able to use as many people as you need to use.
Absolutely.
In this game. You don't play again after tonight until, I believe, Wednesday at Benedict in Columbia, South Carolina. So they have plenty of time to rest. And with tomorrow off, because of today being a doubleheader, there's no need to worry in that sense. Infield in for the Jaguars.
It's a crucial and critical block by Alford there to get his body in front of that dying sinker. Lennox trying to orchestrate a sharp ground ball to the infield. Mountain Lions are sniffing that out, and they know that Lennox is trying to keep the ball down, so they're being patient to try to get a pitch elevated here. 2 balls without a strike on the board. Lennox paints the outside corner right there. A little bit of late tailing action on that. That pitch a little bit too far out of the zone. To Gayona. And that ball was muscled foul off the end of the bat, back our way. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jags infield playing in almost on the fringe of the grass. And that ball shot out to second base. Perfect positioning for the Jags on a sharply hit ball to Robertson. Looks Jones back to third. And a critical out acquired for the Jags and Casey Lennox without that run trotting home. And a difficult bat to contend with now in Corey Ewald, and the Jags are deciding to put him on board, not allowing him to utilize his power.
And probably the right decision is he's homered twice in this series already, so they've seen firsthand what he can do with the bat in his hands.
And it also sets up gorgeously for the Jags if they can get a ground ball in a tailor-made ending double play.
That would be huge. Lushington, the right fielder in this game, is 1 for 3. He struck out and flew out. So double play is definitely a possibility. Not saying it would be easy to turn one, but that would be the best, easiest way out of the inning if you're the Jaguars, if you can get one.
Absolutely not. Lushington has pretty good speed in playing right field out on defense.
That's going to be it for Lennox, who loads the bases with 1 out. So he leaves responsible for all 3 runners. And we'll see if the Jaguars are able to bail him out of the jam. And also see who the new pitcher is going to be.
Cody Pugh occupies the mound in a pressure cooker situation with the bases juiced with 1 out. And the Jags, with a force at any base, are still looking to cut off the run at home plate and then double up Washington at first if the ball is hit sharply. And Pugh digs in. First pitch is under the belt. So not the start you want to start off with if you're Cody Pugh. Already down a ball. Collects himself and delivers a strike. On corner. Fires a changeup, swung swiftly through there by Lushington. Great change of pace. Has Lushington out in front. From behind in the count, he's now back in control of the count by a strike. And
he went. That's strike 3.
Strike 3 is obtained off a check swing off of ball number 2. Fastball up in the zone. Washington could not hold back on his swing. And you can tell that Washington was a little bit frustrated with himself, but there wasn't much he could do after he started his swing. He just could not stop it in time. And now the last hope here in the 7th inning for the Mountain Lions, if they were to squeeze across a run, is Washington, the right fielder. First pitch is battled back. In this type of situation, the matchup advantage does go to Washington. Frame was beautifully framed by Alford. Just a tinge outside, or inside. Just a tinge inside. And now it's an even count. And Robert, you can feel the tension here, and you can almost cut it with a knife.
Well, the Jaguars are doing everything they can to keep it a 1-run game when we hit the 7th inning stretch, and the crowd is doing everything they can to support them at it as well. And with the bases loaded, there's absolutely no margin for error. There's a reason the Jaguars have made some of the pitching changes we've seen lately.
Oh, absolutely. And now the Mountain Lions are down to their last strike, and strike 3! Strike 3! Cody Pugh comes in a pressure cooker situation and absolutely shuts the door on the Mountain Lions 7th. Can the Jags capitalize on this and turn it around and battle back with a run of their own to tie this game up in the bottom half after the stretch? There's only one way to find out. So after the Jags rain down the final strike on a pressure cooker inning, Bakari Gale shoots up, and first pitch he sees is tapped back to the Mountain Lion pitcher, and quickly the first out is recorded in the bottom of the 7th.
How outstanding has Harris been on the mound in relief for the Mountain Lions in this game?
He came in a long half of the 6th inning and shut the door in a pressure cooker situation of his own. Come in, redirects much like Cody Pugh did the last half inning, and completely has shined with the lights on bright. And he's held the Jags in check to this point.
Last half inning, Lenox leaves the bases loaded, and Pugh strands all 3 runners, picking up his teammate.
Slider there with late movement on the slider cannot make its way across the corner.
We saw Harris do something similar when he came on in relief for the Mountain Lions 2 innings ago.
Steve Reich on the outside corner. Good curve to that curve. And now Goebel is back even with the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Good keen eye displayed by Goebel, orchestrating the full count. And if you're the Jags here, you just want runners on base. You don't want to focus on just one swing tying this thing up, because if you do that, then you're more than likely looking at a strikeout. And considering that they're down 1 right now and how this ball game has gone, you need runners. And Goebel patiently waits as that ball dips below the strike zone, and he takes off on his free path past to first base. So you've got Goebel at first. The out came on Bakari Gale's bounce back to the pitcher just before Goebel walked. And now a consistent Moore at the dish, looking to inch closer the potential game-tying run. So he watches the ball soar high. That splitter moved Ewald out from the plate. Good blocking mechanics there from Ewald to make sure Goebel does not advance to second. But the Jags have 2 balls on the Mountain Lion pitcher. That ball's elevated and fisted into right field. A good piece of hitting by Moore, considering he didn't get all the bat on the baseball that he wanted. And Mason Robertson now with a chance to either load the bases or proceed with the deadlocking run. The score will be tied at that point. all at 5, but as we stand right now, it's 5-4 Mountain Lions.
Goebel the tying run on second, and Moore the go-ahead run at first. Robertson would love to get him home if he can. Robertson has scored a run in this game. He's also drawn a walk.
He's got pretty good real estate down the right field line if he wants to go that way. And as the center fielder moves over, the right center field gap is getting wider and wider for him to exploit. Robertson takes a strike. First offering. Harris wheels and deals. That ball is pelted into right center field. Has too much hang time, though, as the ball will be caught. And no advancement from Goebel to third base. If you had it in the right area to hit the ball, you just would have liked to have hit it on more of a line drive. And a break there for the Mountain Lions is the runners are stationary at second and first. The productive out and the non-productive out, rather, is acquired. So now the catcher who caught the game earlier today is utilized in this game as a pinch hitter, Caleb McElwaney.
Pinch hitting for Wagner, who is 0 for 3 on the day, has been lifted.
Jags trying to surge to plate 1. And that sinker is nowhere near the strike zone. Seizing on the patient eyes there, McElwaney connects with a strike inside. So a critical juncture here in the bottom half of the 7th inning is you have 2 Jags on with 2 outs. Tying run is 180 feet away at second base, and Caleb McElwaney, as we set the table for you, down 1 ball and 1 strike. Make that 2 strikes. And the Mountain Lions trying to do what Cody Pugh for the Jags just did. The only difference is that was with the bases loaded. This would be with second and third occupied. Or second and first occupied, rather. Fastball, you can hear the smack of the glove as it hits high. Twos all across the board. 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 balls. And a changeup there has McElwaney going down on strikes. So the bullpen comes in and seizes the opportunity to shut the Jags out without a run in the 7th. We move on to the 8th. It's a close ball game, 5-4. have an offensive change out on the diamond to tell you about. Connor Weldy replaces Caleb McElwaney, who essentially replaced Jim Wagner, who was the original third baseman in this game. And now Pugh comes off an electric inning, last half of the inning, acquiring 2 outs with the bases juiced. Starts off the top of the 8th with 2 straight balls. Up and in fastball that was swung over the top of. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1 now's the count. To Woolfolk. Buzzes a fastball right by him, center cut. Full count is juiced. Looked pretty from up here, but just a touch outside. As Woolfolk will trot on down to first base. That'll maneuver Worley up to the dish. Just keeping Woolfolk close to the bag at first. And that ball's creamed into center field. Billardello's camped under it and makes the grab for the first out.
Easy catch for Billardello, who was right there and just had to wait for the ball to reach his glove after taking a couple steps over. Important first out for the Jaguars on defense.
And now, Robert, a double play will be just what the doctor ordered for the Jags.
You are exactly correct. So that'll end the inning. Important to note, Woolfolk does not have a big lead off of first. If there's a ground ball hit, that'll play a factor.
To your point, he only had about 2 steps. Then he decides to take off and stop and bluff the run to second. And
almost got thrown out on the snap throw.
Offered with a good, clean snap throw to first base. That was closer than what Wolford would have liked.
But if he doesn't have a big jump and it's a ground ball, that's going to play a factor into a double play, like I said.
Absolutely. Takes off for second, avoids the double play off of a hit and run. Second out is on the board.
Well, he did not have a big jump, but he did not need to. As I should say, he did not have a big lead, but that wasn't necessary because he was able to take off with the pitch, and that avoided the double play and the ball taking one hop, which was just enough to prevent him from being in trouble.
He had a great first step on the turn, too, which aided him into getting to second base rather quickly. And now the at-bat to try to do more damage off of Jags pitching is handed into Graysick. Graysick up at the dish. And he battles one to third. A collision at third with the third out secured. So the Jags get out of the inning, but we may have an injury at third base.
Woolfolk is hurt. He's not gotten up since the collision. He collided with Jim Evans of the Jaguars, who tried to go over to field the ball and ultimately had to get out of the way so that Maddox could make the throw to first base, and he was just simply trying to run to third, and that's an unfortunate result.
Absolutely. Connor did everything you're supposed to. You tried to go for the ball, grab it, retain it, make a good clean transfer, and get the out, but just unfortunate that the path of the runner took him into the path of the third baseman, and just glad he's up and starting to move now and try to walk this off.
And it looks like he's going to stay in the game, which is good to see.
The Jags, though, down to their last 6 outs. Let's see if they can surge back with a run. As the Jags work back now from the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The bottom half of the 8th inning, Jags down to their last 6 outs. Splitter swung right through, and the first out is on the board. And that ball's laced over to the third base hole. Phenomenal stop by Reynolds, the shortstop, but like he did in Friday's game with an errant throw that could not be picked out by Gaona, the first baseman for the Mountain Lions, gives the Jags a break here.
And it's going to be ruled an error, despite the hard effort he had to go to get the ball and stop it from going into the outfield.
.730 on the dial here at Lake Olmsted Stadium. Curveball curves right back into the strike zone. Outside corner portion, strike number 1. A ball filters outside of the outside corner. Bottom half of the 8th inning, Jags trying to play it across the game-tying run. Squirts away from Ewald, the catcher, but not far enough for any advancement. The 2-1 pitch. Straddles that outside corner, but cannot ride back over. So it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Strike over the inside corner, barreling in. So now the count is juiced at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jags' worst enemy here would be a double play. Fastball low in the zone, swung over the top of. Second out.
The strikeout's probably the next worst, not far behind the double play in that sense.
Now Devin Bilardello, quintessential leadoff man in most situations here for the Jags, bats with an RBI chance here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Already he was part of that the last game earlier today. He, along with Zach Goebel for the Jags, 2 towering 2-run shots to left field. Now Bilardello waits. Fastball cinches in over the outside corner. And the third out is obtained by a foul ball that seemed to hit off the plate. Umpire says it hit in fair territory, but if it hits the plate, it is a foul ball. So contention to close out the 8th inning here.
The umpire believes, and believe me, he was right on the play, had the very best angle. And he believes that the ball just barely missed home plate and just barely landed in fair territory. It's a game of inches.
You cannot get any closer than that. As you allude to the game of inches right there to close out the 8th inning. We migrate to the 9th. Tough break for the Jags, but down to their last 3 outs. They've got to close out against the Mountain Lions up by 1. Pugh's first pitch of the 9th inning settles outside for a ball. Frames it back outside again. This time, pegs the corner. Two and one now the count. Out number 1 is in the books. I believe that will be Gaona back up at the dish.
Will, he's 1 for 4 tonight. He singled, reached on an error, and scored the 4th and final run that the Mountain Lions scored in the top of the 3rd inning. He's the leading hitter on the Mountain Lions in just about every category.
And that ball is scorched out foul down to the Jaguars bullpen. Gaona trying to battle back ahead in the count right now. He's dead even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Pugh delivers. Fastball. Outside corner. Trajectory. Foul territory. And Cody Pugh loves what he sees here. Ahead in the count, 1 strike. Gaona doesn't take kindly to the 2 strikes, and a noisy second out as Gale trots back a couple of steps back on the grass. And out number 2 is obtained, and Pugh has 1 out to get here in the 8th inning. And just as we say that, the very next pitch is lifted out into center field. Bilardello is there. Hauls in the 3rd out. Bottom half of the inning coming up. Jags down to their final stand here in the bottom of the 9th. Bakari Gale is the first man up to the dish. Slider cannot piece together a strike. Tried to go with a curveball there. Curbs downstairs. Second straight ball. Jags need base runners if they are to try to come back. Strike call. And 3-1 is a pitch as the clock strikes 7:45 here at Lake Olmsted Stadium. Glad all of you guys have decided to tune in to the Jaguar Network on YouTube to catch the back end of a doubleheader and a rubber game as the Jags took the second game.
What an outstanding game that was of the Jaguars offense. Just outstanding.
Brought the power and firepower in it as well as it's 12-4. And then the first game, we saw a pitcher's gem that was a dandy of a duel. And as Meeks got the loss, but the game was absolutely superb as Livingston and Meeks did battle. Here, the Jags are down 5-4. It's the way the Jags started off right with a hit back up the gut, not trying to do too much. Just place the bat on the ball. Controlled swing through. Lace it back up the gut. The Jags have a runner on first. No man down.
It's huge. Gale with a lot of speed. He is the tying run. The Jaguars have lots of options for how they want to play their hand here with Goebel, who's homered earlier on in this today, back in the first inning of game 1. A homer here will win the game. But that's one of several things the Jaguars could do. A good lead off of first for Gale.
Pickoff throw to first base. Gale slides back in safely. Curveball. Curbs right inside the strike zone there. Lower part of the middle. And it's a very quick first strike to Goebel. Zach already doing damage earlier on in the first game. See if he can get something to chew on here on this occasion in the 9th inning.
Would you attempt to hit and run here?
With the speed of Gale, yes, I would. But you have to be smart about it as well, though, too, and not run yourself into a double play if it's caught in the air either.
That's part of the risk.
Exactly. But you still want to do it to cause chaos and hopefully get Gale on a single from first to third and even cause more chaos.
That's something that obviously the Mountain Lions are aware of here.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if you're the Mountain Lions, you'd want to try and get Goebel to beat the ball into the ground for a double play.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, too, if you're the pitcher, you don't want to concentrate too much on Gale and forget about Goebel, because then
absolutely not.
Loss of concentration would mean possibly a pitch that Goebel can tattoo.
And that will drastically change the complexion of the inning as they throw out Gale trying to steal, so you can forget about the hit and run.
He had a good jump, just a stronger throw behind home plate from Ewald beat the rap, and Gale, you can't. It's no fault on Gale trying to make things happen. Just a better throw beat him. Goebel. The Jags have been patient all series long. Sometimes it's come back to bite him right there. It definitely pays dividends for Goebel. He's still down in the count, though. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bouncer to first. 3-1 put out, and the Jags are down to their last breath here. And he comes with the bat of Harrison Moore.
Moore has reached base in every single plate appearance in this game. So, looks to do so here. He represents the tying run. Trying to extend it for Robertson.
Jags have had threats since the run scoring in the first and second.
They have gotten nothing to show for it, and since that time in the game, the Mountain Lions have really made their adjustments, and they've started to look like the Mountain Lion defense that we saw yesterday since that time. The Jaguars scored 16 runs in the first 10 innings of today's action. Let's not forget that they did not bat in the 9th inning of Game 1.
There's now Moore is staring at an even 1-1 count. The last breath is a new hope as Moore shoots one into left field. The Jags do a little two-out dance and get a runner aboard.
Moore's got speed, and Robertson, the freshman, if he gets on, he's got speed. Those are two potential advantages for the Jaguars, and see how they're able to use it here. They're really trying hard to hold Moore on at first. He does not have a big lead at the moment. Obviously, he could take a bigger one if he wants to.
If Moore does come around and play here, Lake Olmsted Stadium will come unglued.
It's come close to coming unglued several times throughout today. You can say that it's due.
And that high fastball, all it has on it is a gander from Robertson. No offer at it. Robertson again says he doesn't want that pitch, but it falls in the strike zone. Lower part of the corner connected with, as it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jags again down to their last strike. So it all comes down to this. 1-2. Mason Robertson at the dish. And Moore at first base. Strike 3 on a pitch in the dirt, and the Jags fought valiantly here, Robert, but unfortunately come up empty.
It was a very valiant effort and 2 very outstanding, well-played games today as the teams split the doubleheader. And the Jaguars, hey, you know what? I'm sure they'll, at least they got the split. They won Game 1 emphatically, and obviously Game 2 does not quite go their way, but you cannot ignore the fact that they did great in Game 1, and I think that's one of the big positives to take from today's doubleheader. A 12-4 victory, and like I said, in the first 10 innings of today's game, through the 2nd inning of Game 2, and the 8 innings of Game 1 that they were at the plate, combined for 16 runs. Unfortunately, after that point, the Mountain Lions finally figured out how to stop the Jaguars' offense and made the necessary adjustments, and the Jaguars were unable to score another run the rest of today's game. It's kind of similar to the game they played against, I believe it was North Greenville on February the 27th. They scored 7 runs in the 2nd inning. It looked like they were going to cruise to a blowout win, and they ended up falling, and they didn't score a single run the rest of the game. Similar story here in Game 2 tonight, where they did not score a single run in inning 3 and on in this game. But nevertheless, a valiant effort. The bullpen's really, it was a fresh bullpen this weekend, but it's really improved quite a lot from what we've seen here today. A lot of bright spots out of the bullpen, which had been a struggle early on. That's a major positive moving forward for them as well. And obviously, the big win in Game 1 of the doubleheader today 12-4, just an outstanding game.
Jags fall in a heartbreaker to close out the Young Harris series. So they, now Young Harris with 2 wins in the series, are at a game above 500 in the Peach Belt Conference standings at 6-5, and the Jags continue to try to battle back here and turn their conference season around. They looked good in the first game and fought valiantly in the second. Just could not muster the strength when they needed it to come back and tie the game up. So, with that being said, the next games are, as we talked about earlier, at Benedict on Wednesday, then a crucial Flagler series this weekend, and then come right back here for the Coker series, or for the Coker game on Wednesday, and then I believe North Georgia comes calling for a weekend scrap 2 weeks from now. We will have those games here for you on the Jaguars Athletic Network on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. For Robert Ambrose, my name is Blake Collins. We wish you farewell, and thank you so much for sticking with us through this amazing doubleheader.